Oh my God, I got a freaking amazing amplifier to show you guys today. Redseven sent me this amplifier, so they are sponsoring this demo. But I have to tell you, I have tried a lot of different Marshall tones over the years, and Marshalls, I don't know, it's kind of a hit and miss thing with me. A lot of them just don't work for me unless they're modded. And this is like their version of the Jose modded Marshall. And man, this thing is just freaking killer. So if you're really into that hot rodded Marshall 80s tone that a lot of people still utilize today, this amp is right up your alley. I mean, Mick Mars used a tone just like this, especially on the Dr. Feelgood album. That's one of my favorite albums by Crew, by the way. I'm not the biggest Crew fan, but that album freaking ruled. And I think that was his best guitar tone, if you ask me. And Kickstart My Heart is their best song. I don't care who you are. I think that's one of their best songs. And that song always gets me fired up, and it was actually a pleasure playing that in the intro of this video. And this amp is so fitting for stuff like that, you know. And the thing I really like about this amp is it's simple, you know. And I know you guys know me, like, you don't like simple amps. You like all the amps with 800 features on them, like all the space shuttle shit on them. But I'll tell you, the simplicity of this amp is one of the things that makes it sound good. It's just plug and play. There's not a bunch of different things on it that you can get confused with. You just turn it on, turn the dials the way you like them, maybe hit a switch or two, and you're freaking done. And this thing sounds absolutely incredible. So here are the settings that I did the intro riff with. So you have some switches down here that we'll go over, but it's very straightforward, single channel amplifier. It has 4 gain stages. It has 3 preamp tubes and 2 EL34 power amp tubes. And that's basically it. You got an effects loop and a couple switches on it and a tone stack, and you're done. It's 50 watts, and it just sounds incredible. And I was boosting it with the grid slammer. So I'll go ahead and turn off the boost right now. Boop, there we go. So let's go ahead and just do a quick dial in on this. And so let's turn everything back to noon. And, oh, no, I'll leave the volume where it's at. I kind of need that. So let's just do a quick dial in. Again, the pedal is off, and I'm running it through my Mesa 212 cab. Here we go. Even at noon, everything sounds really good. It's got a nice, thick, beefy sound to it, and the gain structure is great, and I love the way it feels. It's got that perfect amount of sag. So let's go ahead and turn the knobs. All right, so that's actually a pretty good sound right there. Let's go over the switches real quick and see what all the switches are doing. So basically you have the plus, 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 and basically I have it on the side where it adds a little more gain and compression. And when you switch it over, it opens up the amplifier a little bit. So let's go ahead and hear that. So as you can see, it, you know, because it gets rid of some of that compression, it opens up and gets a little louder. But you lose a little bit of gain. It's nothing drastic, but I like it with the compression on and adding a little bit more gain. And what I found is you lose a little bit of bite, so you can just add that with the presence knob there. and that will attenuate for that. So let's go ahead and turn that back off, and I'll show you the difference. Okay, so it went down in volume a little bit, and I lost a little bit of the bite, so let's go ahead and get that back. All right, so I got a little bit more of the bite back, but I'm going to boost it anyways, and that adds a little bit of texture and bite to it anyway, so not worried about that for right now. So let's see what the other switches do. So this turns your loop on and off. Don't need to really show you that. I mean, it just turns your loop on and off, but this one here is like a mid bump. So let's see what that does. So it's flat here as what the line is showing you, and then here it gives you that bump. I like it over here because it gives it a little more of a forward sound, and I like how that sounds a lot. It's pretty subtle, but you can really hear it when you're playing it in the room, or, you know, like with my situation, I got in-ears and listening to it through the mics. Hopefully the YouTube compression doesn't cover that up. So let's continue dialing this in. Okay, so all of the gain is usable on this amplifier. So when you crank it all the way up, it doesn't get muddy. So that's kind of nice, actually. Some amps, you know, you crank it up past like 3 o'clock and it just gets muddy and you're like, oh, can't use any of that. So with this one, you can just floor it and still have usable gain. You know, so that's nice. So let's go ahead and boost it. I'm going to boost it with the grid slammer and see how that works with it. Seems like it worked pretty well with it earlier. So let's go ahead and do that again, and then dial it in further after I boost it. Well, with the boost pedal on, you really do notice the mid-push switch a lot more. It just really adds to it. So, yeah, I like the switch on. It does definitely jump up in the mix, and I think it actually sounds a little more aggressive. So it's probably like the high mids that he's allowing to, you know, peak up there. It's got that nice bite to it without getting annoying or raspy. So, yeah, I freaking dig this. And you get the snakeskin ToneX. Really freaking cool looking amplifier. I'm going to switch guitars and do some more riffs with it now. Dude, this thing kicks ass on all of those riffs. It sounds really good. And even if you got to back the gain down a little bit like I had to do for the Bark at the Moon riff, it still sounds perfect. It's really good. There's a lot of clarity and note definition when you do that. And if you want a little more saturation for the heavier stuff, it definitely does that as well. And it still gives you that really good note definition and articulation, even with the higher gain settings. I'm going to do one of my riffs with it now. I'm going to turn the gain up a little bit. Here are the settings. I'm going to put the gain up to about 3 o'clock and see what it sounds like with some more, I guess, modern stuff, or at least my stuff, for whatever that's worth. So here we go. Sounds great with the modern stuff as well. It's got that really thick top end. It's real thick and chunky, and it's got just the right amount of bite to it as well. This definitely sounds like a hot rodded Marshall, like what I remember them to sound like. I've had plenty of them on the show, and I have to tell you that this is probably my favorite version of that type of sound, because the feel is really good on this amplifier. What I've always found with some of the hot rodded Marshalls, I'm not speaking about all of them, but just the ones that I've had on the show, is that they're always missing something. I don't know what it is. I'm not an amp builder, but all I know is, like, yeah, this sounds good, but it doesn't totally work for me for some reason. I can't put my finger on it. But these guys with this amplifier, they put their finger on it. They really found that nice balance between aggression, thickness, fullness, and that really nice little bit of sag that we all like on the amplifiers, and that great feel and response. And there's just this really nice balance of all of those things in this amplifier. And the overall tone in this amp is freaking amazing. I love it. So if you're looking for a new twist on the modded Marshall tone, I think this is the way to go. And I think they only made a certain amount of these amps, so they're kind of a limited edition. So if you want the Italian version of a modded Marshall that sounds absolutely incredible, this is definitely something you should look into. And when you get one of these, you get a certificate of authenticity with it as well. So that's pretty fancy. I kind of dig that. So I open up the box and I'm like, wow, look at that. You get an actual certificate with this amplifier. I don't think I've ever gotten anything like that with an amplifier before. So that's actually kind of cool. So now you can hang it on your wall and, you know, shame all your friends because they don't have one. That'd be kind of cool, right? Now that I have my certificate of authenticity, I shall shred and gently mix for you so you can all regale in the amazing tones that are coming out of this amplifier. And here I am talking like this. Maybe it's because of the certificate. I feel a little fancy. Let's go to the mix now, shall we? Well, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed the mix. That was a one-take mix. I try to keep it pretty short and simple here, so I hope you enjoyed that. And this thing sounded incredible in the mix. It performed very well. The feel is really good. I can be a bit of an insecure player at times, and if an amp doesn't feel right to me, I feel like I have arthritis when I'm playing it. I don't know if you guys can relate to that or not, but this amp does not feel like that at all. I felt very comfortable playing it. I felt confident, you know. I felt like, yeah, I can do this, you know, and the feel and response is really good. It takes a boost really well, so I really like this amp a lot. And I think, honestly, by the end of this video, after playing all the riffs and doing that mix with it, this is probably my favorite modded Marshall tone. It really is. They did such a great job on this amp, man. It's freaking beautiful. And just for all you nerds out there, I'll post a picture of the board and how this amp was wired. I mean, they did such a great job on this amp. I mean, these guys are top-notch amp builders. I mean, on the inside, the outside, everything you see, everything you don't see, there's a lot of great craftsmanship that goes into this, and these guys take a lot of pride in what they do. And I also have the Redseven Leviathan, which is one of my favorite amps as well, and I just love their amps. I think these guys nail great tone and amplifiers. So I'll post a link to their website in the description of this video. So if you want to check out the Dirt or some of their other amplifiers, feel free to click on that link, and there's lots of videos and pictures and specs and everything on there, and they ship all over the world. So they're worth waiting for, trust me, and some of their amps you don't even have to wait that long for. And I know that they're working on getting some distribution here in the States so that you can get your amps even faster, so stay tuned for that as well. Well, I want to thank Redseven for sending me this amplifier and letting me demo it. I think it's amazing, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And thanks to all my Patreon supporters and subscribers. I really appreciate you guys. And if you're new to the channel and you like what I do here, which is basically demoing gear and giving you unprocessed audio and giving you my honest opinions on them, feel free to subscribe and click the bell so that you can be notified every time I either go live or come out with another episode. I got a lot more stuff coming up for you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.